Good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on news up here at Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Coming up this evening here on Hot Edition, government to channel all energies into effective relief efforts rather than declare a state of emergency. That's according to Information Minister, as pressure continues to mount on the executive to declare a state of emergency in the areas affected by the spillage of the excess water from the Akonsombo Dam, plus the rising water levels in the black, white and red voters. So we'll give you details of that shortly. Security analyst Dr. Ishmael Norman believes the decision is to enable the president escape parliamentary scrutiny. Stay with us here on Hot Edition. We'll give you details. Plus, the Ghana Health Service, meanwhile, is saying emerging health issues in flood-hit areas in the Volta region and other parts of the country are not yet emergencies. Well, the National House of Chiefs wants state responsible agencies to ensure flood victims get the needed support to compensate their loss. Stay with us. We're heavy on the flooding and its impact in especially the Volta region and some other parts of the country. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Where the latest in business, sports and entertainment coming up over the next 60 minutes. I am Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. Let's get into the details. In the aftermath of the Akonsombo and Bondam spillage, vibrant towns have been thrust into survival mode. Now, from submerged homes to the desperate cries of members of affected communities in the Volta region, the people have been hit by heartbreaks and challenges as they struggle to make it through the day. We'll hear from my colleague Godwin Asedeba shortly. He's been in the Sogakope and Mepe communities over the last 72 hours and put together this report. Stay with me here on Hot Edition. Government is saying that it is not in a hurry to declare a state of emergency over Akonsombo and Bondam spillage as it comes under mounting pressure to declare one. There have been calls from various quarters for the government to declare a state of emergency over the disaster-hit areas. Now, one of the leading voices in this call, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is a member of parliament for the North Tongue constituency, whose constituency has been the worst affected area so far. Believes such a move would ensure that all resources, both local and international, are marshaled to support the flood victims. Government, however, thinks otherwise. Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma has been speaking to the issues. We'll hear him shortly. But first, let's listen to the concerns by the North Tongue Member of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa.
You recall that our chiefs were appealing to the president when the president came here that if he could open Saglemi for our people to be relocated because they can't stay in classrooms, for long. I mean, classrooms are not designed for residential accommodation. But in the meantime, seeing that it doesn't appear that the president is comfortable with offering Saglemi for our people, we are trying to mobilize on our own. So I want to announce that we have secured land, large tracts of land. So particular construction firms who want to come in to help us, even if it's prefab will appreciate it. Because compatriots elsewhere are learning. So our children are being left behind. They are losing precious academic time. And they are all going to write the same exams, the same BEC, the same WASI. How would they cope? So we need to relocate our people so that academic work can begin, the schools can be reopened. Then thirdly, the public health aspect of things. We really have to pay attention. I am glad that the Director General of the Ghana Health Service came here to see things for himself. He saw how precarious the situation is. I hope that he will quickly mobilize a public health emergency plan and support them so that already the typhoid cases we are seeing, the cases of cholera and all of that does not, blow out of proportion. Then we will have to have that difficult discussion about full compensation. VRA must know that they won't be allowed to get away with this. It is not fair to make people lose their livelihoods, lose their properties, lose their farms, and then you think that they should just cope with it. And I mean, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
We will insist on full compensation. And if we don't hear them announcing a plan for full compensation, we will bring legal action.
Samuel Okujeto Blakwa there, declaring quite clearly what he, as member of parliament, is going to do to assist his constituents who have been heavily impacted by the flooding as a result of the spillage of the excess water from the Konsumbo Dam. The legal action that he talks about is one that is on the front burner for a lot of people, that these persons who have been affected can explore the legal route of getting compensation from the Water Authority. But Information Minister Kojo Ponkoma is saying that government's focus is on getting the needed relief for the victims and not considering a state of emergency as is being proposed immediately.
I think our focus should be on how effective the relief efforts are going. If we are finding that there are gaps in it, what we need to do is to intensify to ensure that the people who are supposed to benefit are benefiting. And if it's going well, we need to keep doing more of that. I was there with the Vice President yesterday. They are parts of the 20 centers. There are some of the 20 centers that are taking care of people pretty well, and people are pretty comfortable with it. If you ask them, they'll tell you. And then there are some of the relief centers where people complain of inadequacy of relief materials. I think we need to focus on ensuring that places where there are gaps, get those gaps closed. Secondly, I think it's also important that we mobilize some more support. Private sector is helping. There are media houses that are helping. If there's a need to have some of our international compatriots, support us, we'll be happy to receive their support. I don't think it's so much about the branding that is put on it. As a start, about 10 million Ghana cedis is being made available by the Water Authority to support the exercise. So we have to keep an eye on it day by day for this first phase.
Kojo Ponkoma, Information Minister there. Now, let's hear from my colleague Godwin Asidaba, who has been in the Mepe and Sogaope communities heavily hit over the last 72 hours and interacting with some of the persons who have unfortunately been at the receiving end of the situation.
Mepe is a town that once thrived. Now, it finds itself submerged. Lying on the bare floor for hours, 12-year-old Joshua Sodohu is a vivid representation of the dire circumstances in the town. He has been battling a stomach ache, enduring 2 days of relentless vomiting.
No money, so my mother to take me to hospital.
In an emotional statement, Joshua shares his home has been swallowed by floodwaters from the Konsumbo Dam spillage, leaving him and his mother financially destitute. The once bustling town is now a silent witness of the profound impact of the environmental crisis and its vulnerable residents. Their plight is just one among many. As dawn breaks, the story unfolds. Gagbeto Avi, a 69-year-old farmer, stands as a symbol of countless others stripped of everything by the unforgiving floods. In the silent aftermath, his only solace is the fragile bond with his children, the last flicker of hope in the wake of the devastation. Yet, the haunting truth reverberates.
Bibia ye won yenim se nsuo no baba ba fae nti eba asa no ye ntimi amfa ye niama amma se aho kira ba midan enan nyina abubu ti nyame ya dom na nsuo no twe a nyina ya adwendwen ma me bibia medri metriba akoto no enu ho na medwin che niama nyina.
Babies and children are not spared in the devastation.
Rather unfortunate situation there. As we've been told earlier by the Child Rights International, close to 11,000 children have been affected by the flooding. in especially the Volta region alone. And we're talking about the Volta region because that's the heaviest hit region when it comes to the impact of the spillage of the excess water from the Akonsombo and Pon dams. But what we're learning as well is that other regions, or some areas in other regions, are experiencing flooding, not as a result of the spillage, but as a result of the increasing levels of water in the white, red, and black Volta. That's what's happening now. And we'll tell you the various areas heavily hit as a result of this increasing water level shortly. But the Ghana National Union of Technical Students has also urged the Ministry of Education to relocate students affected by the spillage of the Akonsombo Dam to other safe educational facilities. That, the Ghana National Union of Technical Students said, was to ensure that these students continued their studies and were not left behind. That's the Ghana Union of Students said that in a statement issued earlier today, further reaffirmed its commitment to the welfare and prosperity of the victims, particularly students, and extended its deepest sympathy to the communities affected by the disaster. Let's go straight to the area right now. We have a strong team on the ground in a number of areas affected by the spillage. We have Roland Walker and Sogakope. We have Godwin Asedeba in the northern part of North Town, and then Emmanuel Samani, who is also joining us from Mepe as well, is on the telephone now. Emmanuel, tell us about the emerging health issues that you've observed since you arrived at Mepe earlier today.
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. Alfred, I can tell you that the devastation caused by the spillage of the Akosombo and Pon dams transcends beyond the physical destruction that we've seen. There has been a surge in skin infections. There has been a surge in diarrhea, salmonella, as well as other waterborne diseases. So I've been interacting with some of the residents at the estate havens, and they tell me that as soon as they got there, a lot of their kids started experiencing, stomach upset. They're developing some rashes all over their bodies, and which is attributed to the skin infections and fungal infections that is spreading through these state havens. I have been interacting with the health directorate, and this is what they told me, Mr. Michael Ziga.
Yeah, so exactly. Those are the cases that we are seeing: hypertension, skin infections, body pains, and then other minor illnesses. But currently, we've not recorded any infectious or communicable disease yet. So then we are still on the lookout. Once we get any of those cases recorded, we will take actions. Our emergency preparedness plan is well programmed to take care of all these conditions. So we are in a lookout for any communicable or highly infectious disease. But currently, the ones we are taking care of are body pains, hypertension, skin infections, and then other minor illnesses.
So that's the MEPE health director that you municipal health director you spoke to. Now, what are the measures they've put in place, Samani, to address these increasing cases of the health-related issues that have been recorded?
Right. So, Alfred, I can tell you that at the MEPE RC Basic School, there are teams of medical professionals scattered across other satellite communities, and so what happens is that screening. They're actually having routine screening of these individuals to catch and pick some of these ailments early and treat them. And so that is the arrangement for now. He also tells me that they will look at assess the situation, the patient who comes in, and they have demarcated or divided it into two separate issues. So if you come in with, for example, a headache, etc., you are given like a paracetamol, you're sent on your way. But if it is something that is quite major, they have what do we call it? An ambulance on standby. An ambulance on standby, which would transport these individuals who have major complications to the Roman Catholic Bato Hospital. And so there's an MOU between the district, the North Tong District Assembly and the Roman Catholic Bato Hospital, so that cases which are above the medical team here at the RC Basic School, they are just referred there, and that is the arrangement, Alfred.
I see, and we understand that the risk of a cholera outbreak is also increasing because of the contaminated water that a lot of them are still using because they don't have any option.
Right. So in terms of that cholera outbreak, I interacted with the medical director there, and he tells me they do not know where that piece of information came from. They have certain RDTs in which they used to test for the cholera, but so far they haven't confirmed any cholera cases with the RDTs, and so those speculations regarding a cholera outbreak are false because they have not recorded any cholera case as of yet.
And talk about the children as well that you've been interacting with who have also recorded one health-related issue or the other. What is the health directorate doing specifically about the children who have been exposed?
Right. Alfred, you know that when it comes to the children, they are usually suffering the brunt of this displacement and the aftermath of the water spillage because they have lower immune systems as compared to their older counterparts. But the focus primarily is on the health and safety of the children within these communities. And so when you look at the number of people that come in for the routine checks, the children are a priority. So you notice that about 60-70% of the numbers that are coming in for the health checkups, 60-70% of them are children with particular emphasis on these kids. And like I indicated with you earlier, they are seeing a lot more of these diarrheal infections among these kids. And so they are taking quite keen interest in their kids, and it's quite obvious with regards to how they are taking care of them, Alfred.
Thank you. Emmanuel Samani is a man in Mepe, also focusing on the impact that this has had and the exposure to the health-related issues as a result of the spillage of this excess water from their Konsombo Dam. But the National House of Chiefs has tasked responsible agencies to ensure flood victims of their Konsombo Dam spillage get the needed support to compensate their loss. Thousands of people have been displaced and lost their livelihoods after their homes and other property were submerged by flood water. Speaking at a meeting to discuss matters of national interest, Vice President of the House of Chiefs, Na Powele Kabo III, described the devastation as regrettable.
We understand parts of Greater Accra, the OT region, and many parts of the country are undergoing some flood. And a disaster of grave proportion is going on. On behalf of NANANOM, the National House of Chiefs, that we commiserate with our many citizens that have been discharged, and to urge on all agencies responsible for ensuring the proper resettlement and bringing relief to these our citizens to take serious action so that their hardships can be alleviated.
That's the Vice President of the National House of Chiefs there. Let's stay a bit further on this. And Ibrahim Abubakar is my colleague and our lead correspondent in the Ashanti region. He sat through the House of Chiefs meeting on the crucial matters of national concern. He's joining us. Ibrahim, so what more did the National House of Chiefs commit to do to support the efforts in at least reducing the impact of the flooding on the persons in these areas?
Well, for now, they've not made known their decision yet. They are just, like the man said, appealing to the relevant agencies to ensure that they give them all the necessary relief items that they will need. But they say they are also putting their heads together and see what they can also do collectively as a house to also come to the aid of these flood victims, because it is something, it was not something that they called it upon themselves, but it has happened, and they see it as a disaster that can happen to anyone. So for that matter, they are also calling on individuals and corporate entities to also go go to the aid of the flood victims so that at least life will bounce back to normalcy for them. But aside that, there were issues that they had to discuss. In fact, today, the main agenda had to do with the adoption of the revised Gabon Constitution. And they came, a delegation from the National House of Chiefs, USAID and Care International brought forth that revised constitution for adoption. But just when they presented it, we had some chiefs who also raised some objections with regards to that. They are saying, so there are issues of territorial boundaries between Gabon and Gonja land. And until those issues are resolved, it will not be right for the House to adopt this constitution, because the minute it adopts it, then it means the Gonja land will claim ownership, or the Gabon will claim ownership of some land belonging to the Gonja land. So even though the delegation were disappointed, they left disappointed because the House couldn't adopt that the constitution. They had to defer it. They say they will go and make sure that they sort out all those land issues before they return to the House for adoption of the revised constitution.
Very important point there. Ibrahim, thank you very much for this update from the National House of Chiefs meeting in the Ashanti region. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti regional correspondent. The government has announced a free medical care package for persons affected by the disaster that has hit most parts of the North Tongue, South Tongue, Central Tongue in the Volta region. And then also some parts of the OT region, we understand, have been experiencing flooding as a result of the increasing levels of water in the White Volta and the Black Volta as well. And we're hearing information as well that areas in the northern region have also been experiencing some flooding, and the Savannah region, Bole specifically, have also been experiencing some flooding. And then we also have information that places in the eastern region have been experiencing flooding as well. Specific cases of Esojaman and then Akose have all been experiencing some flooding, and then parts of the eastern part of the Greater Accra region, that's Adan East, Adan West, have all been experiencing flooding. And then also the Western North region, we understand places in the Western North region have also been experiencing flooding as a result of the increase in the water levels in the Red Volta that goes through that region. And then also the Bono region, the Bono East region, we understand places like Pru East have been experiencing flooding, and then also Sene East and Sene West have also been experiencing flooding as a result of the rising water levels in the Black, Red, and White Voltas. So that's what's happening now, and we've counted so far 8 out of the 16 regions experiencing flooding due to both the spillage of excess water from the Akonsombo Dam and the rising water levels in the 3 Voltas. As we're talking about the Red, White, and the White Volta as well. But what's happening now is that the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boache, has been speaking about this free medical care package for the affected persons that government has announced.
Volta is there are 4 districts, that is South Tongue, Central Tongue, North Tongue, and Oda. And in Greater Accra, we have Adan East and Shires who have also been affected as far as. And Eastern region, there are 3 districts that has been affected. The total of about 78 communities have been affected. The majority of them are in the North Tongue district. We've done a lot of response. But so far, medicines and supplies are available. We have GMA created a platform to also offer free care to the displaced people, including the Ghana Registered Midwives and Nurse and Midwives Association, as well as the Psychological Society of Ghana, who are also moving to Volta region to offer. I've also directed that for those people who may have lost their health insurance cards or do not have resources, the facility should offer free care in the interim whilst we find solutions to address these challenges. Broadly, our response is how do we ensure that diarrheal diseases do not occur, because in flooding you are going to have feces and water mixing up and also contaminating foods. And so we sent lab kits to test for any outbreak of cholera. So far, we've not had anyone. We have also created satellite treatment centers where temporary facility sites are being treated. So far, we do not have any shortage of supplies, but we are ready that if should there be other regions who provide support for them. But we are on the lookout to ensure that any disease-related condition that is what flooding will be, we are ready to respond to it. On the aspect of health, we have not reached any situation where we need to look at that. I think the response is okay. There are enough resources within the very regions where they are going to be able to contain it. But if it gets out of hand, there's what we call the emergency operating center meetings, where they do meetings every day. That we join online to see exactly what we are talking about. This afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, I'll be having an online meeting with all the 3 regional directors to give me updates on where they are, if there are any challenges to address them. We've also have a promise from WHO to give us support.
In terms of
logistics and everything.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumamboachi, but security analyst Dr. Ishmael Norman, who is convinced the president will not declare a state of emergency, says this is to enable him avoid parliamentary scrutiny. He spoke to me earlier.
Going by his history, Alfred, during COVID, he didn't use the Emergency Powers Act of 1994 at 471, I believe, and Article 31 of the 1992 Constitution. And the reason why he wouldn't declare a state of emergency, even a regional state of emergency, is because it entails a lot. You remember that he used Executive Instrument 61, that's when he started, and then at 10:30 or so, at 10:12 of 2020, to declare a health emergency, not even a state of emergency, but a health emergency, meaning that other considerations were not important, even though the COVID was a massive disruption to activity everywhere. So in this situation, with the flooding, with the spillage and the flooding, he's not going to declare a state of emergency, not even a regional state of emergency. He will come out with an executive instrument that will allow him to perform without reporting to the parliament, because the modalities for state of emergency are very technical. And you know, our president doesn't like to be controlled by the laws too much.
But I say, what could possibly go wrong, Dr. Ishmael Norman, if this urgent calls that not just you or the flag bearer of the NDC have made, but other persons have called on the president to consider this state of emergency in these areas? If it is not heeded too urgently, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, if you declare a state of emergency, it allows the government to allocate a lot of resources to confront and tackle the emergency. So if the president or the government, let me say the government, is dedicated to solving this problem, then the wisest thing to do will be a declaration of a regional state of emergency, because it has not become a national yet. The flooding, the spillage, and the flooding subsequent has not become so overwhelming that the country cannot handle or the region cannot handle. So it is an isolated, maybe 9 districts that have been affected, maybe 12. That is still not an overwhelming burden. But in order to declare a regional state of emergency, the president will have to go to parliament, report to parliament on what has happened, even though everybody has seen what has happened, and you have to follow the modalities as listed under Article 31. If you don't do that, it is difficult to get a lot of money and resources towards the resolution or the interventions that are needed. And you can see that they are struggling to raise money, to find money, because, Alfred, in this day and age, when the districts are flooded,
If you go to give me or anybody in that situation a liter of oil, dry rice, beans, dry beans, bucket, plastic bucket, I have no place to cook. I have not even water to cook. I have no fire, no gas. How do you expect me to eat?
So that's Dr. Ismail Norman. He is a disaster management expert and also security analyst. Join us with his thoughts on this. Also live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. Also on W93.5 and 1 beyond. Just to remind you that we're here at Media General and we've put together the Dam Spillage Relief Fund that a number of you have contributed to already, but we are appealing to as many of you who can help us in every way possible, in cash, in kind, and in any way possible, to please come through with your donations at the TV3, Onia TV, 3FM, and Onia FM, and 3 Foundation, officially mobilizing supplies, food items, clothing, and other essentials to support our brothers and sisters in the Volta region who have been affected by the spillage. We need items such as food, clothing, school books, medicines, building materials, and anything that you can really help us with to ease the situation they find themselves in at the moment. Donations are welcome from the public, and this can be sent through the 3 Foundation mobile money number. Please take this number: 059-7433-110, 059-7433-110. The reference should be the Akosombo floods. Reference Akosombo floods, or the merchant number 120494, 120494, with the merchant name 3 Foundation. You can also make your way here to the premises of TV3 and 3FM, and it would be duly acknowledged. So kindly help us as we try to help these people as well who have been affected by the floods. We appreciate that as it comes through. Thank you very much. But some members of the New Ghana Social Justice Forum today demonstrated at the head office of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company, that's BOST, demanding the dismissal of the board chair and the dissolution of the board for causing financial loss to the state to the tune of over $3 million. President for the Ghana New Social Justice Forum, Yahya Al-Hassan, spoke to the media.
To join this imminent campaign for the prosecution of all BOST top officials, for the dissolution of BOST members. Imagine an individual creating 4 companies to compete for himself with a public contract. Had this been in US, had this been an advanced country, the Hakamanism, the board chairman of BOST should and must be in prison by now. We are calling on President Kufuor. We know you not listening to us. But what is clear, the BOST board members are not in existence, even though they are here. But the aspiration of Ghanaians don't want them, don't need them. They should be prosecuted as soon as possible.
Well, Deputy Managing Director of BOST, Moses Mensah Asem, who responded to some of the claims, received their petition.
We have been to the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament. They have reviewed all our documents. There is one allegation there that is in the audited account, the 3 million that being described as loot and share. It's a transaction that took place in 2015 at the time that the present management team were even not in office. That transaction was a payment for land, 16-acre land, to use it for LPG terminal. And at the point, 3 million plus, wasn't 3 million exactly, was part payment was given to the landlord who sold the land. Unfortunately, BOST was not financially strong at that time, so we couldn't continue the payment before we even came to office. So we made the effort to negotiate with the seller, and he took us to court. As I speak today, the case has been cleared, the land has been paid for, and we are ready to start it for LPG terminal. The purpose of the LPG terminal is to save the life of Ghanaians.
As Deputy Managing Director of Bost Moses Mensa Assem there, Trade and Industry Minister Governor Tahir Hammond has escaped a possible jail term as an Accra High Court dismissed a contempt case against him. As a North Member of Parliament James Achequason had prayed the court to sanction the minister for saying the legislator may well leave Parliament since he would end up in jail. The court has, however, dismissed the case as lacking merit. Joseph Akablay was in court earlier today and reports.
The Asin North legislator is standing trial for allegedly making a false declaration and offense of perjury and forgery. He has pleaded not guilty and in June this year contested the Asin North by-election. It was during the run-up to the election that a Trade Minister, K.T. Hammond, urged him to back out of the race since he risked ending up in jail. The Member of Parliament's legal team were of the view the minister's comments were in contempt of court. The High Court, however, ruled that they failed to attach the actual documents showing the statements made by the minister. The Trade and Industry Minister expressed satisfaction at the court's decision.
You don't take K.T. Hammond to court as a victim, as stated by their lawyer, Mr. Agalga. He stood here at the forecourt of this very court, exactly where we are standing, and told the whole world that they decided to exercise their option, their discretion, to institute this action against me, this application against me, as a victim. They chose me as a victim. K.T. Hammond is nobody's victim at all. Nobody's victim. I'm also telling them they must go back and read the rudiments of the law. They should understand. These guys there, these fellas out there should understand the principles of the law. They just simply cannot decide to expend the cost time and expend individuals' time for no good reason.
The criminal trial of James Achequason is back in court on October 27.
Joseph Akablay with the details from the court earlier today. Let's stay a bit further with what happened in the court, because the former finance minister, Seth Tekpe, has told an economic and financial court in Accra that he directed his then deputy, Dr. Kesel Atuforsen, who is now the minority leader, to write to the Bank of Ghana requesting for letters of credit to be set up in favor of Big C General Trading Limited of Dubai for the supply of 30 ambulances for Ghana. Mr. Tekpe, who testified as the star witness for the defense in a case brought against the minority leader, Dr. Kesel Atuforsen, and two others, told the court presided over by Justice Sefua Sewasari Boche that the authorization by Dr. Forsen to request for the establishment of the letters of credit was given at a special management meeting he chaired at the Finance Ministry. So my colleague Lord Edwasari sat through this court proceedings earlier today. What more does Tekpe say?
Right, so Alfred, the narrative you just put out there was challenged by the Attorney General. Now, the cross-examination of the former finance minister took roughly almost 5 hours, I should say.
5 hours?
Indeed. Because as a defense witness, the court had to finish with his cross-examination because he had somewhere to go, so they had to take a look at all that. Now, he wanted to prove by absolving his then deputy, Dr. Kesel Atuforsen, that he authorized him to request the Bank of Ghana for the letters of credit. Now, when he was given the document, at the time that was done, it says it was in 2018, the Attorney General asked him, right, because in 2018, Iyoko had invited him regarding the same issue, and per the records, he couldn't prove that there was that authorization. But in his witness statement today, 2023 in April, the same thing. When he was asked about it, he noted that something like that had gone on. And then the Attorney General asked that, how come in 2023 you seem to recollect everything? Because in 2018, when he was asked about it, he told Iyoko that he had come out from office about a year ago, and so things were a bit fuzzy, and so he couldn't recollect everything. But in 2023, he seemed to have clarity on what is happening. Now, the AG sought to consulting the documents that were available, he sought to claim that the former finance minister did not actually authorize the first accused person, and Dr. Keso Atoforsen. So from the process, there should be an authorization an advice from the Attorney General as well as the legal department. And then that's for the request for the letters of credit. Indeed. Now, the former finance minister stated that he had gotten an advice, but the advice that came from the Attorney General and then the legal departments of the Finance Ministry was not what was adhered to. So it seemed to be in contravention with what had gone on. And so that was where the conclusion was drawn. So it wasn't definite that the former finance minister was able to prove beyond doubt that he authorized the request by his deputy, Dr. Keso Atoforsen, thereby seemingly absolving him of blame. I see. So there's still a lot more questions for Setepe to answer. But when has this case been adjourned to? So yes, although there seems to be a lot more questions than answers, the former finance minister has been discharged because he had to travel, and so that's why they had to spend about 5 hours to question him. But then the next witness will be called on 26th, and then we'll see how that would go. The 26th of October. Of October, indeed. And who is this next witness? His name is Patrick Numo. Patrick Numo. Indeed. I see, great. Thank you. Lord Edwasari is court correspondent, also sat through the case involving the former finance minister, Setepe, was told an economic and financial court in Accra that he directed his then deputy, Dr. Keso Atoforsen, to write the Bank of Ghana requesting for letters of credit to be set up in favor of Big C General Trading Limited of Dubai for the supply of 30 ambulances for Ghana. That position, as Lord has clearly indicated, was challenged by the Attorney General in court earlier today. But a group of civil society organizations is urging the Electoral Commission to reconsider its plans to make the Ghana card the sole document for voter registration. Community Focus Foundation Ghana, Democratic Credentials Network, and the Coalition of Ghanaians Without Ghana Card argue that the guarantor systems is high in its usage during the limited voter registration. It's only a suggestion that its usefulness has not waned.
Even before the 2023 limited voters registration ended, the Electoral Commission indicated that the guarantor system had outlived its usefulness and must be abolished.
The Electoral Commission believes that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness, and we are convinced that the time is right for a system that every registrant is identified on his or her own merit, rather than another person vouching for the age and nationality of that person. Preliminarily, we will say that there are a lot of factors why people are using the guarantor system, which we need to get into it. But clearly, it's possible some people may not be qualified.
At the end of the exercise, however, over 61% of all registrants relied on the guarantor system. The joint CSOs argued that this indicates that the system should not be abandoned.
We contend that if the SIA is passed in its current form or shape, it will completely disenfranchise millions of prospective voters who, for no fault of theirs, are unable to obtain the Ghana card issued by the National Identification Authority, NIA, contravening the rights provided for Ghanaians under Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution. The reason for this unpopular decision by the EC, the public is yet to be told.
They also called on the president to reassign the commissioners of the EC deemed politically tainted.
That appointment of politically exposed individuals breed mistrust, which is a potential trigger towards electoral violence.
That's a group of civil society organizations urging the Electoral Commission to reconsider its plans to make the Ghana card the sole document for voter registration. It's live here on Hot Edition. Michael Obodo is standing by with the latest in business. Angle.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Michael Obodu, and straight into our first story, as economist Dr. Saad Idrisu is calling on authorities to institute adequate policies to alleviate Ghanaians from poverty. His comment comes on the back of a recent World Bank country director's revelation that over 7.7 million Ghanaians live on less than 25 cedis a day. Speaking to 3 Business, he said that the situation could deteriorate further if urgent steps are not taken to address the situation.
As of January this year, it was set to 14 cedis, 88 pesos. So roughly in a month, the person will be making around 400 to 450 before taxes. So if you do the maths, you may not even get up to 25 cedis a day. So it's actually true that a lot of our population are in abject poverty, and it needs policymakers' attention to look at how to formulate policies to take them out of this abject poverty. If not, in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, the situation might worsen for the average Ghanaian. I usually say that every economy are being moved by 4 drivers. Let me put it that way. But if you come to Ghana, we have only focused on one sector to the neglect of the other 3. The first one being infrastructure, the second one being private sector growth, that is businesses and all that. The third one being human capital development. Then the fourth.
That was Dr. Saad Idrisu. He is an economist at the Louisiana Economic Development Institution in the USA. Now, the Ghana cedi is now going for 12 cedis 10 pesos against the US dollar on the forex or retail market. This is despite forecasts by many analysts and research institutions that it will end the year at an average of 11 cedis 60 pesos to the American greenback. Checks by 3 Business at some forex bureaus indicates that the demand for the dollar is high 2 months before the Christmas season. There has been significant foreign exchange demand from local corporates and importers ahead of the festive season. Now, away from that, AMG Desire Limited has opened its printing and advertising press at Newtown in Accra. The company intends to provide appropriate expertise and services to both corporate and individual clients.
AMG Desire Limited stands out in the fast-paced business and technology industry by delivering innovative services that align with the needs of consumers, positioning businesses for their respective markets, and ensuring excellent products. The company is into advertising, print, and IT services, specializing in creative design, 3D signage, branding, and general IT services.
AMG Desire, it's a brand and advertising consulting firm. We really come in with the view to partner corporate organizations. We offer IT services as well. So provide IT consultancy in the area of IT project management, and then software development for mostly insurance companies.
Some partners of the company shared their experiences.
We are Skynet Express. We partner AMG because they help us do our branding, do advertising, create awareness for people to know what we do, and in doing that, it increases our brand equity.
AMG Desire is our major IT partner. Our logo has been designed by them, and our website too designed and managed by AMG Desire. Our vehicles are branded by AMG Desire.
Well, on that note, that'll be all for today's edition of the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next, sports.
Well, it's time for sports here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Lishen. We're going to start off from the Black Stars because defender Joseph Adu is out for 6 to 7 months minimum after undergoing surgery on a ruptured Achilles tendon earlier today. He was sapped off with an injury during Ghana's friendly game loss against Mexico, where Ghana lost by 2-0. He will officially be unavailable for the 2023 AFCON. We wish him a speedy recovery. Now, still on the Black Stars, former Chelsea defender Ryan Bertrand believes Chris Hughton is the right man to lead the team despite their back-to-back friendly defeats against USA and Mexico. Now, he believes the team will be ready for AFCON 2023 during his exclusive interview with 3 Sports.
Yeah, I think, first of all, football, international or domestic, tournament football, anything can happen. So there's some stage you can not be in the best form and end up doing well. Sometimes you can be in great form and end up underachieving. I think the last 2 tests in USA and Mexico were good tests because they're different, different style of football and different opposition. So I think they're in great hands with, Chris Hughton there, and yeah, I'm pretty sure by the time the tournament comes, they'll be ready.
They'll be ready, according to Ryan Bertrand. Now, he also added that the current crop of players need time and patience to gel, as there's a rich supply of talent in the senior national team.
For sure, I think if you look at England, they had their kind of transition where they identified lots of amazing young talents and chose to build, pathways in international football for them talents. And now they're really competing on the stage, been in finals and semi-finals quite consistently. So for sure, and if you go back to, Kudus and Ernest, and there's a lot more talent coming through. Even AFCON and beyond, it'll be a process, so it'll be a change. So it's important to bear with that. It's not always easy being a fan because you want to win all the time. But I think identifying that the national team is in a transition. So as long as you can see small steps going forward, I think, you should take pride in that because it's a longer project. And like I said, the manager is, well versed in nurturing youths for sure.
It is a longer project. That's according to Ryan Bertrand, the Champions League winner in 2012 with Chelsea, and he spoke to 3 Sports in an exclusive earlier today. Now, Saudi Arabia wants to host the 2035 Women's World Cup, says the technical director of the country's women's team. Now, the Gulf Kingdom has already launched a formal bid to host the 2034 Men's World Cup. We'll see how that develops and we'll give you further updates as and when they come by. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen, and up next is entertainment with Akofa standing by.
Thank you very much, Bill, for the sports update. You're still tuned in to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment here, and it's powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Let's begin with Ghanaian Afropop songstress Adina, who says her latest single, Happy, is to encourage fans to focus less on life's difficulties, celebrate themselves, and have a good time. To Adina, the song about happiness will surely put fans in a cheerful mood after listening to its lyrics. Happy, the lead single off Adina's upcoming album Afro Glows, features Fante rapper Kofi Kinata. Now here's Adina speaking to Cookie Tea.
Why are we partying at this time? Is it because it's the end of the year?
I mean, that too, but also because we are all going through what we're going through, and it's necessary to take a breather every once in a while. That's basically all I'm saying, because the problems are not about to stop.
No.
You know, the bills are not about to cease because it's about to be Christmas.
They're getting fatter, actually.
Exactly. So just take time out of all that busy, you know, schedules and have a good time. That's all I'm saying. But also, it's important for the end of the year. People have worked so
party.
What I said, people have worked so hard all year. And this is like the best time to just woo up. It's actually the lead single for my upcoming album, which is called Afroglow. So it's coming out next year.
Right.
But this is like the lead single.
Okay. You keep just growing and growing and moving and moving. What keeps you going?
I think it's the love and passion for music, and obviously being surrounded by like a solid team that will push you no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, let's do some more stories now. The highly anticipated African Legends Night is back and ready, with the 11th edition set to take place at the Grand Arena on the 1st of December 2023. This year's event aims to take the music and entertainment scene by storm once again. The event, known for its celebration of African musical icons, promises to be a night of dazzling performances, cultural vibrancy, and an unforgettable experience. This year's edition will also feature the Legends Digital Music Museum, the African Legends Hall of Fame, the Legends Music Show, the Legends Music Celebration, and the Legends Music Playlist. Ghanaian music legends Obrafour, George Jarrah, and Kwabena will join Yvonne Chaka Chaka to headline this year's event. And finally, before I go, hours after clips of veteran Nollywood actor Mr. Ibu begging for help on a hospital bed went viral, some top Nigerian celebs have started rallying round fans to fly Mr. Ibu out of the country for better care. In the viral clip, the actor's daughter Jasmine solicited fans and support from Nigerians so that the veteran could be flown out of the country for treatment. She noted that they have run out of money, hence the need to make the public appeal. The appeal has reached thousands of fans of the actor, including Peter Okoye of P Square fame. In a post shared on social media, the member of the music group said, quote, "Our very own Mr. Ibu John Okafor needs our help as he goes through a medical challenge. Our Nollywood legends deserve better. It's time for we the people to show him love for bringing joy to our screens all these years. I am pledging my support for him 100%. You can also support him a little where you can. He needs our prayers and financial support in this challenging time. Praying for his speedy recovery. May God heal you permanently, our dear veteran." End of quote. Now that's how we wrap up the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Kofi. Thank you very much for tuning in. The 3FM Drive team continues, and I'll be back at 8 p.m. with Wind Down.